Welcome to the Becks, a podcast that explores multimedia horror with hosts Becky and Sydney. Join us as we talk about movies, books, video games, music, and much, much more.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks.
Yes.
Becky, are you wearing your Longlegs today?
Not today.
Do you have them in the back of your closet?
I'm not telling.
In your basement, perhaps?
With the man down below.
So we are talking about the movie Longlegs. It came out this year. So spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet.
Don't listen.
Well, you can
listen.
You can listen.
Whatever you want to do. If you want to know what's going on without watching it, then listen to your heart's desire.
So I really want to talk about first the marketing for this movie because it was super cool. Do you remember seeing any of the marketing for this?
Absolutely not.
So it just flew under your radar?
You know I don't watch a lot of that stuff.
That's true.
Whew.
So it did what the Blair Witch Project did and created a lot of clips and posters and different posts on different websites. In the movie, you see the serial killer uses a codex to put hidden messages and things that they have to decode. They did the same thing with their movie posters and stuff like that. And it was to build up a lot of speculation and interest and things like that.
See, that's strange. I never saw a single thing about it. Till after it had come out at the theater and I read that it got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, like right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And that's when I started reading about it. But again, I don't subject myself to a lot of stuff like that. I just don't. I'm weird. I don't watch the news either.
Well, that's a real horror show. And we don't talk. So, they actually... I don't remember exactly when they released the cast for this, but they really went out of their way to not reveal what Nicolas Cage's character looked like. It was not in any of the early promotions, and as far as I know, it's still not in any of the actual trailers. So when I watched this movie, because it's made by A24, which did Midsommar and Hereditary and all those other fucked up horror shows, I immediately thought that Nicolas Cage's character was going to be a giant Spider-Man. I don't know.
Because of the long legs?
Yes! I was like, okay, they're not showing him. It's creepy. Things are weird. He's going to be a giant spider person.
I'm still not sure I understand the whole long legs thing either. But, okay.
It was his mental illness.
Yes. Common theme around here today.
So,
not at all making fun of mental illness.
No, we are both clinically
yes.
unhealthy.
And the whole world is.
Oh, we got the giggles tonight, too.
Yeah. It's been yeah.
So they put out 11 promotional videos on YouTube leading up to the release, the first appearing in January of 2024, which did not mention the film's title at all until February.
Really?
So they just had this promotional content for this horror movie. Super weird, creepy shit happens in it, and they didn't even put the title out. And I remember when this stuff started coming out, because people on TikTok were talking about how brilliant the marketing was. Because as far as I know, since the Blair Witch Project did it, nobody else really has. I think because they thought that, because when the Blair Witch Project came out, they were able to use the internet in a way that no other horror movie had been able to do it before. So they really leaned into, oh, it's based on a true story, or like, stuff like that. Yeah. So I think people were like, oh, well, they did it, so it can't be done again. Like, it would be too contrived.
True.
But I think enough time passed that the people behind Longlegs and the marketing team, they got away with it. It was super successful because people were pumped to watch this movie. I was really pumped to watch this movie. Even when I thought he was going to be a weird Spider-Man.
And I knew nothing about it.
So, okay, we can talk about the actual movie now.
Okay.
Because I love it when, see, my personal opinion is, and this is a practice that I put into motion, is I will watch the first teaser trailer that comes out for a movie, and I refuse to watch any other ones because I think that in this day and age, trailers give away way too fucking much.
Oh, they do. You see the whole movie, pretty much. The whole plot.
Yeah.
Roger won't watch any either. If we go to the movies, like the movie theater to watch a movie, he literally will close his eyes and sometimes plug his ears. So he doesn't have to see the trailers. He said, you know, I want to watch the movie, and if I watch the trailers, I'm getting all the good parts, and what's the point in even going then?
Yeah.
So.
I think a good example of this for me was the Deadpool versus Wolverine trailer and the subsequent trailers that came out, because there were so many really cool cameos that they could have kept under wrap, and they ended up letting loose in different trailers, and I just thought it was wasteful.
Again, didn't watch any of those either.
Well, good for you. You weren't spoiled.
No, I was not.
So what this movie actually is about is it takes place in the 90s, and it's about a serial killer, which I did not know was going to be the plot of it. I was very surprised. I was like, oh, okay, so this is actually like a la the Zodiac Killer?
Yeah. I mean, with the letters and,
Yeah. And it takes place in like a small Seattle town. So, okay. Well, I just want to bring something up real quick, too.
Okay.
Because she's obviously, the main character is obviously a rookie. Her name is Lee Harker. They open up the scene where they're looking for a different serial killer, not Longlegs at this point.
Is that the opening scene, though? Isn't the opening scene the little girl?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It kind of is like a Polaroid picture, the way the screen looks.
Yeah, it's like 8 millimeters.
Yeah,
so they
8
mess with the
film.
aspect ratio, which I love when movies do that because it's a really subtle way to kind of, well, it's part of the storytelling process. In this case, it was kind of uncomfortable, and it lended to the idea that this was vintage.
Yeah.
You know?
So a little girl sees a car pull into their driveway, and she goes out.
And she's taking pictures.
Yeah, with her Polaroid.
With their little Polaroid.
So she goes out in the yard, and she hears a voice. And so she goes towards the voice, which is totally everything your parents tell you not to do. But it's her yard, so I'm sure she probably
We learn later on that she's, like, super sheltered.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. So then she sees this man that is super pale.
Well, in the opening scene, we don't see much of him. They don't reveal his face until later on
until
in
the very
movie.
end, that's right. She just, she's talking to a man, but he's got a weird voice.
He's super tall. I mean, we're seeing it from her perspective. So she's just a little girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old. And she's basically looking at his stomach or, like, his torso. Mm-hmm. And he even tells her, oh, I got my long legs on today. And when he starts to crouch down to talk to her, that's when it cuts forward to the future.
Yeah. He talks to her about her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got a birthday coming up.
It reminded me a little bit of, it was just weird the way he was talking. It reminded me of, like, the Mad Hatter and, like, the unbirthday thing and stuff like that. It was just weird and uncomfortable.
When he talks, he just, so creepy. I would want, she just stands there and looks at him. Just like she's totally, almost like she's disengaged from it. She just, she's just looking at him like, what is this dude? But yeah. So he's like, oh, I got my long legs on. And crouches down. That's when you see his face.
No.
Yeah.
No, you do not see his face until later on.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Because his fucked up weird face was not revealed until later.
I thought he bent down.
No, he did, but it cut before we saw him.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I've watched it 3 times. You'd think I'd know.
Yeah, and I only saw it once. Well, you were... Okay.
I was very sick, though, when I watched it. Because you came over, I was already getting sick, and then I watched it the next day laying on the couch because I had called into work, didn't I? Yeah. Yep.
You were really sick.
Yeah.
Sick in the head, too. No.
Mentally ill, I tell you. I have mental illness tonight. Anyway.
So, Lee Harker gets assigned with her partner to investigate a cluster of murder-suicides that are happening in Seattle.
And all of them are, the dads, are killing their entire family and then killing themselves.
Yeah.
In weird ways, too, not just like...
The traditional way?
I don't know.
Of killing your family, is...
Well, one was an axe murderer.
Yeah, true. And there's guns and knives and, you know...
Yeah, just
basically whatever...
It seemed like whatever they could find to kill their family, they were doing it.
The movie immediately established that she seems to have kind of like a weird clairvoyance. When they're getting their briefing done, her and her group of peers, she's the only woman, I just want to point out.
Mm-hmm.
And when she goes out with her partner, he seems to kind of treat her like a woman, I guess.
Oh, yeah, he kind of tells her to stay there. He'll go check it out.
Yeah, stay in the car. Because they're going house to house asking questions. Because they're starting to kind of make connections between these families. Even though there isn't really anything besides the fact that they're families. The dad ends up killing everyone. And it happens on a birthday.
Yeah.
A little girl's birthday.
But this first case that they were out on, her and her partner, that wasn't for those murders, was it? She was transferred to that case after this because of her aptitude and her testing.
Yeah, she had So when they went out on this case, she looked at this house and had like a weird moment, and she was like, that's where he is.
Yep.
And her partner was like, you can't possibly fucking know that.
No. Anyway.
Which is honestly fair.
No, it is. I mean, how many people do you know that could do that? I mean, I would like to know someone that could do that.
But he did go, and he did check it out.
He did. Yes, he did.
And then he...
promptly got shot in the head.
Right in the face.
Yeah. So she was right. He was there.
And she obviously gets out of the car because she thinks that something's wrong. She starts to act kind of panicked. Like she thinks something's going to go wrong. Mm-hmm. And so she's already out of her car and has her gun drawn. And then he gets shot in the face. And then she's like, oh shit. So she goes into the house. And this is her most annoying character trait.
Oh, it's so bad.
Is her fucking breathing. I don't know why they had this bitch mic'd up so hard.
For minutes.
Yeah.
So bad.
I mean, and sometimes it was quick, though. Like, the speed of the breathing. Okay.
I have to demonstrate for our listeners.
I can feel our listeners dropping off right now.
Sorry. It happens.
But she breathes super hard. And it was honestly pretty annoying. Like, it took me out of the immersion. I don't know why. Like I said, I don't know why they had her mic'd up so close. Because I don't like to hear people make noises.
No. Me either.
I didn't know someone's breathing could annoy me so much.
But it really did. More than once in this film, too.
Yeah, she just is a heavy breather.
Yes.
A heavy mouth breather.
Yes.
Which is worse.
When she gets scared and worked up, oh yeah, breathing heavy, crazy, not good. Very annoying. Mute it through that part of the movie.
Or just turn it the fuck down. Like, I don't know, man. I don't even know. Does she catch the...
Yeah, she walks in the bedroom and she says, don't move. He has his back to her looking out the window.
And he surrenders.
Yeah, he says, don't worry, I won't. That easy. Don't worry, I won't.
Yeah, because at first I thought I was remembering wrong. I thought it was part of it.
I thought it was too, but the more I started thinking about no, because then they do the psychological testing on her.
Yeah.
And
because they would have used him, the only living dude left, they would have used him as a witness, and they just never mention him again.
Yeah.
Unless we really are wrong and this is just a plot hole that they left hanging there.
No, I do think that's how she ended up being taken over to the Longlegs case, because when in law enforcement, I'm assuming when you lose your partner or there's a shooting or whatever, you have to undergo a psychological eval.
Yeah.
And so they did some testing on her where they were asking her, kind of like clairvoyant things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she was like nailing them. And then suddenly she was on this case.
And the name Longlegs is what the letters in this case, it's what the killer signs off with. That's like his handle. Yeah. Which I want to know where he came up with it.
I got my long legs on. I want to walk up to people and be like that. Oh, wait, I got my long legs on.
Oh my God. You didn't see this, but she came at me like a fucking circus clown and spread her arms. It was actually really unsettling. Maybe we do need cameras.
Maybe we do. Anyway.
So she starts poring over this case.
Like obsessively. The first night he puts her on it, she falls asleep in one of the rooms in the office with nothing but materials from this case all over the floor surrounding her.
Yeah. But she actually makes an important connection. This is when she finds out that each family had a 9-year-old daughter born on the 14th of the month. And the murders always occurred within 6 days before or after the birthday itself. And the murders actually form, like she makes like a spreadsheet. And it actually forms like satanic symbols. So she thinks that if she...
Yeah, it's an occult triangle.
Yeah, so she thinks that if she can make the next logical connection with a different family, she can potentially catch him.
Yes, because there's one number missing.
Yeah. She actually takes her work home with her, and she has this beautiful cabin in the woods. I mean, it's very creepy in the context of the movie.
Being out in the middle of nowhere by yourself in the woods.
And she has no curtains.
No, none, and it's all glass windows, and yeah.
Which just gave me, it gave me anxiety.
I know. I was giggling inside.
She calls her mom up, and her mom seems kind of mentally ill. Not extremely, not at first. She just seems kind of overbearing, and their relationship just seems weird.
Yeah, the whole conversation's weird.
Yeah.
She's her mom's only daughter, and she makes a point of saying that, which I find weird.
Yeah.
Yes, Mom, it's still your only daughter.
Yeah, I actually expected there to be some kind of weird payoff with how they talk to each other, but it never... I guess it's just one of those things, like, they had a weird relationship.
Well, the mother was obsessively protecting her daughter.
Yeah.
So,
while she's on the phone, she sees some movement outside the cabin and goes to investigate it and breathes really hard while she's doing it. She leaves her fucking door wide open when she leaves.
Yeah, dude, what was up with that? Who does that? In the middle of the woods, you hear a noise, and you open your door and leave it open. Why do people do that?
You think you see somebody, and you walk away from an unlocked entrance that's wide open. Like, yeah. I was like, there's gonna be somebody in her house, and she's gonna get shot in the face just like her partner. Like, she didn't seem to have much of a survival instinct.
No, she just was breathing really hard. So she wasn't hiding, ever. Anywhere she was. You could hear her coming.
Yeah. You could, just the average Joe could just be like, you could find her so easily. Probably easier than if you kept your eyes open. Like...
Yeah, for sure.
When she gets back to her desk, though, I mean, she searches her whole house and nothing's there. But when she gets back to her desk, there's actually a birthday card. And it's a coded letter from Longlegs.
So he was in her house.
Yeah. And it tells her basically to, you better mind your own fucking business or I'm going to cut the milk bags off your mom.
I knew you were going to say that one.
It's what he says.
It is what he says.
she's actually able to... this is my other beef with this movie, and I don't know if it's just because of the time it took place, but she's able to decode the letter that she gets from Longlegs just from her Bible, which is like the easiest codex you can use for secret symbols or whatever. Like, the Bible is the most common. Everyone has it, so that means everybody can use... If they can just figure out the algorithm that you use, literally everyone can crack your code. Like, it's a really shitty idea to use the Bible because anybody could figure it out.
Really? Could you? I don't think I could. I mean, I understand where you're coming from.
I think given enough time, I could.
Okay.
I have confidence in myself. Probably too much.
I don't know how to make a secret code, or I would.
Put me on the case.
Someone make a secret code and send it to us.
That would be dope.
That would be really cool. Make a secret code using the Bible. And we'll see if Sydney can decode it.
And then I'm going to embarrass myself. So they actually are... She's able to figure out a clue from the... I don't know if it's from the actual birthday code. I can't remember. But it actually takes them to...
Yes, because he said something about having fun at the farm.
That's right. Yep. Mm-hmm. So they follow this clue to a previous home of some victims. And actually, it was an outlier because the little girl in this case actually survived. But she couldn't take the trauma. And they sent her to an asylum. But they go into this barn, this very creepy barn. And they climb up some very creepy wooden stairs. And everything's creepy.
As it should be in a horror movie.
And the weather is, like, super spooky. There's, like, lightning. And it was very atmospheric, this movie. Mm-hmm. They did a good job with their establishing shots and stuff. And they pry up some floorboards. Because there's, like, one of the satanic symbols on one of the floorboards. And they pry it up. And there's a fucking doll.
Like a life-size doll.
Yeah. That looks just like the little girl that was...
In the asylum.
In the
family.
Yeah. And so they take it with them and they x-ray it or whatever, and there's like a ball inside of its head.
Like a metal orb.
Yeah. And there's nothing inside it. It's hollow. So it's just totally a weird mystery that kind of didn't... It frustrated them because they expected it to actually...
The one guy wanted to cut it open.
Yeah.
But the other guy was like, well, there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
So why would you want to do that? So it was weird.
They actually end up going to the asylum to question the little girl. It's the camera family.
Yeah. Which the little girl had been kind of catatonic and had not spoke since this happened to her family.
Yeah. And when they get to the asylum, the director was like, yeah, it's totally the weirdest thing. This person has never had any visitors, and all of a sudden she has two, one right after another. And of course, Harker is like, what do you mean? Two visitors. Because that's suspicious as fuck. And it was, whoever it was signed in under her name.
Uh-huh. Yep, they did. Which,
I don't know why that particular detail bothered me, but it kind of just put a little shiver down my spine. There's just something about...
Well, that just... I mean, she already knew that... She knew that he knew who she was.
Yeah. I mean... Also, do you remember... Did she ever tell them about the birthday card that she received from Longlegs?
Yes, she does. I think once they find out that he had come to her house, I think she says... I think.
Which you would think... No, because that's where she gets the clue for the farm. So she had to have handed it over for evidence. I just find it weird that they never really put her in protective custody or anything. You'd think that that would be something that they would do because it was obvious that the serial killer was, like, taking a special interest in her.
I don't know.
I don't know how cops work, I guess.
I don't think she told them about anything until it was really in depth into it. Because remember, then she... Well, we'll get there.
Carter actually, and he's like Lee's boss. He kind of becomes her de facto partner through this whole journey. And he actually starts, because he sees her name in that logbook, he starts to suspect that she has some kind of connection to Longlegs. He doesn't suspect her of being involved in the murders or anything like that. He just starts thinking like, okay, there's something weird here.
Yeah, especially when he saw that he had signed in with her name. Mm-hmm. It clicked that something was going on. When
she visits with Carrie on camera, that whole scene was super weird and unpleasant too, because she talks about how, like, it's almost like she knew what was going to happen to her family before it happened. Mm-hmm. And
she talks in a dialect that's kind of, I don't want to say uneducated, but definitely she talked strange.
Yeah. It was interesting.
Spoke. Yeah.
It was pretty easy.
I mean, she was in school when this happened. That's why she didn't get killed, but
it felt more Kansas than Seattle. Let's just say that. It was weird. And she did have a strange, like, way of speaking. And the longer that she spoke to Lee, because I was like, oh, she's not going to be very forthcoming with Lee probably, because she already thought that she'd spoken to Lee, maybe. Yeah. You know, like, from just the lens of the like, that's given to us as the audience, someone signed in under Lee's name and already talked to her. So was she going to trust Lee? Was she going to want to speak to her? But she just starts talking. I don't think Lee really... She asked her, like, 2 questions, maybe. And Carrie on camera just is like, I'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
And the longer she talks, the more disturbing the things she's saying gets, and the more pointed and personal it gets to be about Lee Harker specifically.
Yeah.
And it starts to almost feel like she was a part of the murders in some way.
Yeah, it's weird.
Which she wasn't. It was her dad killed her mom.
And the pastor.
And then failed to kill her. And then killed himself.
Yeah, it's like he didn't wait for her to get home.
Yeah.
He killed everybody and then killed himself. He didn't wait for her to get home. Strange.
So Carter looks into it and he's like, okay, your mom filed a police report on/around your birthday so many years ago about an intruder on her land. And Carter's like, you need to talk to your mom about it, because she knows something. You know, she didn't die, you didn't die, something like...
Yeah. Oh, and her birthday's on the 14th.
Of course it is. And it was around her 9th birthday. So Lee does go back home, and she tries to talk to her mom. And her house is like an old farmhouse, and it seems very cluttered. Like, it almost seems like her mom is kind of a hoarder. It's not that bad, but it's still like there's stuff everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you can walk on the floors. There's not stuff like that, but there's boxes full of stuff, and there's just stuff everywhere.
And her mom doesn't want to talk about it. And she even says something about, like, I just wanted to protect you, you know. Mm-hmm. But eventually her mom does say, her mom's name is Ruth, by the way. She's like, just, you know, your room's the same as it was. You can look through your stuff. I'm not talking about this anymore.
But she always asks her daughter, are you still saying your prayers?
That's right. She said that that's the only thing protecting us is the prayers. And Lee kind of makes a joke about how she had never said her prayers.
Yeah.
And I expected her mom to get mad, but she didn't. She kind of was like, she thought it was
weird. She thought it was funny.
Yeah, she thought it was funny. It was like a big joke.
She's like, our prayers never did anything for us anyways.
Which was so weird. And really just, this movie does such a good job of establishing like a creeping sense of dread. I know I've said that about other movies, but this one is subtler because you don't know exactly you don't know who the killer is. Like, you suspect that maybe it's somebody close to Lee because she has such a personal connection to it.
Well, and they're trying to figure out how this guy is actually getting these fathers to kill people.
Yeah.
So technically, he's not killing anybody, but he is getting these dads to slaughter their entire family and then kill themselves.
Yeah.
So that's where they're confused. They don't understand how this is happening. How can someone have that much control over someone? Or they must have something on the dads. Or there's just a lot of things going on that nobody's understanding.
Yeah, and Lee is even the first person to even consider the fact that Longlegs might have an accomplice, which nobody that she works with is like, no, he fucking doesn't. Like, I don't know why they were so against the idea that he had an accomplice. I think because there was no, like, DNA evidence or anything left behind at the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. Just the families.
But she was really kind of convinced that Longlegs didn't do the killings himself, obviously, but that he had an accomplice to help him brainwash these people. Because there's lots of satanic connotations throughout the whole movie, so they know that he's like a Satanist or a cult member or whatever. But they don't, and I think it's funny that they believe in Harker's clairvoyance, but they are less inclined to believe about actual satanic influences.
Yeah. And she does point out that Carrie Ann woke up from her fugue state when they found the doll.
Yeah.
That looked like her. And they just brushed her off, like, oh, it's a doll, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it was just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Really, it was when Longlegs actually decided to visit Carrie Ann, right? It didn't have anything to do with the doll at all. Which I can see to a degree, but again, they're relying on Lee Harker's abilities that are very undefined and unpracticed.
Yeah, they totally know that she has this weird sense, and she's the one making all the discoveries after they've been searching for years.
Yeah.
Because this has happened over many years.
Yeah, I mean, she's an adult, and it happened to her when she was a child. Yeah. So she does search through her stuff, and she finds a Polaroid, and this is when his face is revealed.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because she has the flashback.
And he's super pale and weird. And he did indeed visit her on her birthday. She actually submits the photo, and he's so distinct that it, like, literally does not take them any time at all to find him. Because he's a local guy. One thing I want to mention, too, is the scene. He ends up... So Longlegs, after his face is revealed, we get a little, I don't know.
Montage of his day?
Yeah.
So weird. He
drives into town. He's singing to himself on the radio.
For the girl when he goes into the store. Dad! That weird guy's back again.
Weird pervert.
Weird pervert's back again, right in front of him.
Because this part of the movie I actually really like too, because so he's screaming to himself on the radio. He gets to the store. I don't even remember what he's buying. Didn't he ask her to look for something?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because that's why she called the dad, because I think he wanted something and
she wasn't about to leave behind the counter to get it for her. And he asks her about when her birthday is, and I think he tells her that she's pretty or compliments her in some way.
Yes.
And he laughs, and he's super weird. And then she yells for her dad. And then it cuts back to him in his car, and he's like gripping the wheel, and he's screaming to himself, and he's like, Mommy! Daddy! Release me! From this hell. I don't know exactly what he says.
He says, I know what's in here. Something about free me. Oh, man. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it, though, because it's crazy.
And I just want to go back to the fact that I thought this movie took such a weird direction based on what I just assumed it was gonna be a weird A24 movie. Like Tusk, where Justin Long turns into the fucking walrus at the end. I was like, he's gonna be a weird spider monster. So when they revealed him to just be like an old albino guy, which I know we've said his he has a fucked up face and he's gross. I do not have anything against albino people. I have everything against how they made Nicolas Cage look in this movie. But...
Well, because he's literally wearing, like, white Halloween makeup, like that oil-based makeup. That's what he has on his skin. Like, I think he does this on purpose. You can tell it's a makeup. It's not his skin. It's, like, that is literally how he makes himself look.
For some reason.
Yeah.
But the interaction that he has with this girl at the shop just illustrates a really interesting point to me, that there are weird fucking people everywhere, and when you interact with them, it's just a normal day.
Yeah, like, she was not scared of him.
No.
And I think that upset him, because I think he thought she would be scared of him.
She was so unimpressed.
And so I found it. What he screams in the car is, Daddy, Mommy, unmake me and save me from the hell of living.
Yeah, it's such a fucking gnarly thing he says, too. I think we were all watching it, and we were all kind of getting into it like it was the opening to a metal song or something. Like, don't get me wrong, it was creepy, and he's obviously a very ill person. Or, I guess, maybe he's not, because he's just a satanic person? I don't know.
Well, maybe he was mentally ill, and that led him to becoming the satanic person. I don't know. But he definitely was conjuring up some evil.
So, she releases the photo. She's like, yeah, this is him. This is the guy we need. And he gets arrested when it's almost like he's trying to leave town. Like, he has luggage.
But he's so ready. Like, yeah, he has luggage. He's at, like, this bus stop in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But he knows. He knows, because immediately he hears sirens and he just drops his suitcases. Like, here I am.
Just stands there.
Yeah.
Ugh, he's so creepy. She realizes, by finding the Polaroid and stuff, that her birthday is the missing date that she needed to complete the fucking triangle thing. And so that she makes the connection that she thinks that the accomplice is going to commit a murder, even though they have Longlegs in custody. Like, she's convinced that there is an accomplice and that the murder is still going to take place, even though they have him in custody. And no one believes her.
No, they figure it's over because they have him.
And how can he puppeteer this murder from within a prison's walls, right? In the interrogation room, he says that he serves the man downstairs, which is so funny considering what we learn later.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really want to talk to the person that they have interrogating him. He keeps asking for Harker. And they let her go into the interrogation room to talk to him.
He gets so excited.
Yeah, he starts laughing and giggling, and
he's excited to see her.
I really expected him to start saying happy birthday or something, like, because her birthday is coming up in the movie.
Yeah.
Like her adult birthday.
Yes, because her mom keeps asking, am I going to see you for your birthday?
He says that he serves the man downstairs, which everyone already knew that he was a Satanist. And he actually says, Hail Satan. And he says some stuff that hints about Lee's mom's involvement.
Yeah, he tells her to ask her mommy.
Yeah.
Ask your mommy. Because she's asking who his accomplice is. She knows that he's working with somebody. And he just kind of gives her vague answers and it's making her upset. And
then this is one other fucking thing in the movie that really pissed me off is he starts, and this is really gruesome, he starts banging his head against the desk until he kills himself. Like, he totally ruins his face and kills himself. And she just kind of watches it happen. And I understand objectively that's a super traumatizing thing to watch someone do. But why did she try to stop him?
She could have pulled the table away. It was not bolted to the floor.
Yeah, Like, she could have
She could have pulled the table away, but she just literally just stared at him till his blood was splattered all over her.
Yeah. Everyone was understandably fucking pissed at her because he was the killer.
Yeah, Carter, her boss, was like, we had him. We had him. There are no fucking accomplices. You fucked up.
Yeah, like he got off easy.
Yeah.
Is basically what he's,
He said, so all these years of chasing him, looking for him, all these families that are dead were for nothing.
Yeah.
He's very angry at her.
Because, I mean, again, these murders are really fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Because it's, and sometimes it's families with other children. Like, it's not just like, oh, it's, the girl with the birthday. It's, sometimes they have siblings, and it's, so the family size varies. And sometimes there are, like, I guess, in the case of the preacher, there's, like, collateral damage.
Yeah. So another FBI agent decides to drive her out to her mother's because she needs to talk to her mother. She said, I need to talk to my mom. She hadn't talked to her about the picture of Longlegs that she found in the house.
Yeah, she literally just, like, found the picture and was like, oh, shit, and left. Yeah.
So this nice lady drives her out to her mother's, and she asks, well, do you want me to come in with you? And she said, no, I'll be out in a minute.
So, one other thing I want to touch on, too, that we haven't yet, is that throughout the movie, you see dark shadows and figures and horned beings and stuff in dark corners and...
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of, like, Easter eggs like that in there. I was reading about those.
Yeah.
I went back when I watched it the second and third time to find some.
And so there's always, like, this dark presence following Lee around when she's doing this investigation, but it's super subtle.
Yeah, I didn't really see a lot of them when I was watching it.
The only reason why I saw them is because I knew to look for them.
Yeah. See,
I think if you're like a really observant person, I'm sure you would have seen it. Like, I think Keegan pointed some out, and
Omen did, because Omen had been watching TikToks.
Yeah.
So she knew.
Yeah, the nice FBI, the only other woman in existence in the FBI.
Takes her home. To her mother's. Mm-hmm. So she gets out to go and talk to her mother and the FBI agent. The other one, she stays in the car.
Browning is her name. And she can't find her mom anywhere in the house. And the basement is unlocked. Which, when she had visited earlier, she went to go into the basement.
And it was locked down.
Because I'm sure she was having her little spider sense go off. But her mom kind of distracted her before she could go in there. And so this time it's unlocked, but before she can go down, she hears a gunshot. And when she goes back outside, she sees her mom shoot Agent Browning again. And just splatters her all over inside the car.
Yeah, that poor lady. She was just giving her a ride home.
Yeah, and then obviously she's like, what the fuck, Mom? But then her mom has this doll that looks like baby Lee, child Lee. And she shoots it, and Lee totally just loses consciousness.
Yeah, her mom says, you caught him. You've got him, and now he's free, and now you're free too, baby girl. And she shoots it, and you see, like, this black puff of smoke, and Lee goes unconscious.
Yeah. And she sees now, though, that her mom has always been Longlegs' accomplice ever since he initially came to the property. He basically told, like, Ruth begged for her daughter's life.
Yeah, Ruth tells her, well, you kind of get this. Ruth is telling the story. Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
Yeah.
And she goes into it, and she explains what happened that day. And she actually caught Longlegs talking to her daughter. And she came out in the yard and said, what the fuck are you doing talking to my daughter?
Yeah.
To my kid. And... yeah, he tries to kind of hypnotize her. You can tell he's acting weird and trying to, I don't know.
Like a snake.
Yeah, she's basically telling him to leave, and things go real bad.
And he says that if Ruth wants to save her daughter's life, that she has to work with him.
Yeah.
And
he sings again, doesn't he, in that part
he
where
does.
he's like, invite me once, invite me twice, or something like that.
It's so fucking weird. So weird. And it was so creepy.
Yeah, he's super
And
creepy.
I remember Omen saying, like, oh my God, that was terrifying. And because it kind of seems absurd.
Yeah.
But if someone came up to you and did that, you would be shitting your pants. It wouldn't be funny.
It would be scary. No, it would be, what is wrong with this person? I need to get away.
Yeah.
I mean, if I walked up to you right now and was like, Sydney, invite me once, and did a little dance, you'd be like, I'm calling 911, my friend, and you are going to take a long break. Just, no, especially if someone walked up to your child and acted like that.
Yeah.
Not right. So, yeah. So he basically tells her to save her daughter's life, she has to work with him.
And then it's revealed that he has been living in their fucking basement
forever.
Ever since.
Yeah.
Because you see him in the basement earlier in the movie, like, making the dolls.
Yes.
And being fucking weird.
He's a doll maker.
Yeah. I have no words for this.
So the mom is telling the story, and they're showing scenes, and she's just narrating. And she said, a nice lady with a doll from the church.
Yeah, because she dresses up as a nun.
And she goes to these houses and brings in this doll, which apparently is what casts the spell, which allows the satanic power to enter the home. And she says, oh, you've won the church. You were entered into a contest at the church, and your daughters won this prize. And the daughters immediately become enamored with this doll.
Yeah.
They just can't stop looking at it. And so she's, her mother's telling this whole story. So you see the whole background. And she's like, all I had to do to keep you safe was to murder families.
And again, she wasn't the one doing the murdering. It was the fathers. And being
possessed, obviously, by the satanic evil.
But it was her doing. She brought the dolls into the house.
She brought that evil into the home to cause this. But because she did that, that allowed her daughter to grow up.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, Lee's doll blocked her memories of Longlegs.
So what he wanted her to see, she saw. And
yeah.
what he didn't want her to see, she didn't.
Which I guess, raises the question, why, when she went into law enforcement, did he want her to catch him?
I don't know.
This movie...
But he was so excited. I mean, he talked to her in the room before he killed himself, where he said, we were so proud of you.
That you were going into law enforcement.
Oh, maybe he thought he could eventually control her, and she would be there into that kind of world.
Yeah.
I don't know, but she
wakes up, because again, she passed out when her mom shot the doll. She wakes up in the basement. The phone rings. She answers the phone, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Because, like, why would you... I don't know if she was, like, confused. Like, she couldn't really remember what had happened. I would be... I almost just said I would be calling the police. Like, when you are the police, I guess you can't really call the police.
Yeah, who's she going to call? She had another police officer with her, and she got her head blown off by her own mother.
But
good job.
The demonic-ass sounding voice in the phone reminds her about Chief Carter's daughter's birthday party.
Yeah, it says you're late.
Late to the party.
Yeah.
And then she realizes, that her mom's gone, and...
So that's what I don't understand. Her mom sets her free. But why does her mom continue? Why is her mom doing it? What is wrong with her mother?
Well, she's, like, possessed too? I don't know.
I don't know.
This movie doesn't answer a lot of the questions it poses.
Because you would think if he's gone, and then she shoots the doll to release her, that she would maybe not have to go kill families anymore.
But at the same time, Ruth said that she freed him.
And he did say he would be a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Anyway.
She rushes over to
Carter's house.
Carter's house.
Which is so weird. This gives me such a creepy feeling when he opens the door, too. Now, remember, he's mad at her because that guy killed himself.
Yeah. But it's almost like he's willing to make amends or soothe hurt feelings for the sake of his daughter's birthday party.
No, he's weirdly welcoming. Weirdly.
So is his wife.
Yes. He opens the door, he's like, oh! Harker, it's you! You made it! Come on in! Happier than he's been in the entire movie.
Yeah.
It's weird.
He was a very stoic, serious kind of guy.
Yes. And he wasn't when he answered the door. Come on in. And his wife was like, oh, Harker, I'm glad you can make it. And they all go to the living room together.
And her mom's there.
And there's a doll.
There's a doll that just looks just like Carter's daughter.
And Carter's daughter is sitting next to it, touching it, smiling at it, staring at it like she's best thing she's ever seen in her whole life.
To your earlier question, maybe she had to deliver this doll because he had made it. And so, like, now that he's dead, he wasn't going to make any more dolls. So she had to finish out what was started?
I don't know.
Anyway.
I feel like she's a little evil herself. Maybe not in the beginning.
This is the other thing that fucking pisses me off royally in this movie. Is that, first of all, she doesn't shoot her fucking mom. Which I guess I understand because it's her mom, but I digress. Secondly, when Carter very suspiciously tells his wife to go into the kitchen.
Well, because she says, isn't it time to cut the cake? And he's like, yeah, we can cut the cake. And
it's so aggressive.
It is so aggressive. And he's like, yeah, the cake needs to be cut up.
And he even says, like...
She says, well, I'll be right back when they get up to go to the kitchen. He's like, well, I'll be back. You won't be. You'll still be in the kitchen. But nobody does anything.
She doesn't stop them, which made me so angry. Like, I don't know what she could have done.
She could have shot the doll. Couldn't she have shot the doll?
Okay, so she could have shot the doll. She could have shot Carter and just, not to kill him, just to disable him, wound him, whatever.
But he literally takes his wife in the kitchen and murders her. You can hear it.
And you hear all of it.
And she just stands in the living room and breathes heavy.
And just makes awkward eye contact with her mom.
Yeah.
Tries to get Carter's daughter to...
And her mother said as soon as they got up, she said, the woman's already dead, and so is the daughter.
And Carter comes back in, and he's covered in blood, and he goes to kill his daughter, and that's when Lee shoots him and kills him. And Ruth actually attacks Lee with a knife, and she's forced to then kill her mom. And then it's just her and Carter's daughter, and she's still just, like, nothing happened. She's just staring
at the doll.
And she goes to shoot the doll finally, but she's out of bullets.
Yeah.
And then she just takes the daughter and leaves. And that's when the movie ends.
Don't you think that the daughter's still under the spell?
Yeah.
I mean, the doll's not destroyed.
I mean, I don't know exactly what spell she was under, but she just...
Well, we didn't also say that they found out right before they went to... When they caught Longlegs right before that Carrie Ann had jumped off the roof and killed herself.
Yeah. And Carter was really mad at Harker about that for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't her fault. I don't know. It's like... Why did he keep letting her be alone with these people if he didn't really trust her? Because he did not accompany her to talk to Carrie Ann Camera. He didn't accompany her to talk to...
He didn't do much. And they've been working the case for years and never come up with anything. And she solves it in 2 days.
I don't know. It was weird how everything was handled. And
it was a good movie.
Oh, it was excellent.
It was creepy as hell. It didn't... I don't think I had any jump scares.
No, it wasn't that type.
No. It was more psychologically disturbing.
Yeah. The atmosphere was crazy.
Super understanding of the mother. Not the last murders, but super understanding of, would I trade anything for my child's life?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I probably would.
You would You'd put your long legs on? Is that what you're saying?
I think I would put my long legs on for my kids.
Well, you better watch out, everybody. She's gonna start making fucked up weird dolls.
I don't talk to Satan. So we're good. I don't talk to Satan. I don't talk to Satan people. If they tell me, I'm okay. I did have a Satanist friend. He has since died, but I don't talk to Satan.
Okay.
So I can't make a deal with Satan if I don't talk to him. Correct?
That's true. I'm sorry. I'm losing my shit because you just were like, I don't talk to Satan. Like you were saying like, oh, I don't talk to Lisa. Like no, that's not something. No, it was so casual.
I avoid Satan. I don't talk to him. I make no deals.
Okay, a couple other fun facts I just want to mention. So the director of the movies, Oz Perkins, he's directed a lot of horror, okay? But when I was looking through his IMDb page, I found out that he also directed Legally Blonde, which I thought was really funny.
That is kind of funny.
Also, his dad, I think it was his dad. Hang on, let me check again.
Fun facts that she's not sure are facts.
Well, I just learned it today. Fucking. Okay, so it was his dad. So Oz Perkins, that's the director. He is the eldest son of Anthony Perkins, the actor from Psycho.
Really?
Yeah. So there's some legacy horror going on, which I love.
I guess that's pretty cool.
So yeah, and his wife's name is Sydney.
Maybe you talk to Satan.
It's spelled the wrong way.
Oh, the weird way?
Yeah.
Huh. Anyway.
And he's 6'4", so he wears his long legs all the time.
He does wear his long legs all the time.
So, yeah, long legs. Brilliant marketing. Really good acting. Could have done less with the fucking heavy breathing. Nicolas Cage is really good in horror. He doesn't do it often, but there's just something about how fucking weird he is that he's just able to do it.
To appreciate this character, you have to watch the movie. To appreciate, I'm not a huge Nicolas Cage fan. I do enjoy some movies, yes, but when he's super weird like this, he's great at it. Just great. I mean, he didn't have a lot of dialogue in this, but what he did have was just like, that man is insane. He's absolutely off his rocker crazy.
He did not have a lot of screen time.
No,
he didn't. But his presence in the movie was off the wall.
Yeah. No, he definitely made that character. They did the right casting for that. He just played it perfectly. And
they add prosthetics to his face and stuff. Like, his nose is different. It doesn't really look like Nicolas Cage. Unless you actually know to look for Nicolas Cage. He's just... The directing was brilliant. It was super atmospheric, very creepy. Talking about the story made me feel like the story wasn't that good. Ironically, but the movie makes up for it.
No, it is really good. Like I said, I was sick, and so I stayed home and watched it, I think 1.5 more times. And at first, I was a little disappointed because I thought it was going to be actually scarier. But it, though, was very psychologically... I mean, this is something that, other than, who knows if the actual clairvoyancy and all of that actually is happening, but there could be a weird serial killer out there that, people are easily controlled, whether it's cultish or things like that.
I mean, think about how often our own government did shit to us.
Yeah.
Like MK Ultra and shit. Like,
it's very, it was a psychological thriller for me more than it was an actual horror, terrifying film. It got to me in the ways of, like the mom, okay, she went through to the ends of the earth, basically, to protect her child.
She was
And her daughter hated her, basically. You could see she was so angry with her mom all the time. But her mom literally sacrificed her entire life, her soul, to protect that child. She did.
Well, yeah, but she wasn't a very good mom to her.
No. But she did what she thought she could to protect her. No?
I'm unimpressed. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm not a mother. But that doesn't give her, like, a pass, in my opinion.
No, I'm not saying that she was a shitty mom because she did what she did. You know, I'm not saying that gave her a pass to be that way. But she literally sold her soul to protect her so her child could grow up. So she may not have been a great mom in a lot of aspects, but she sold her soul so her kid could grow up. Otherwise, she'd have been dead when she was 9.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. She's a very complex character, and she's deeply traumatized by all of the things that she is made to do.
I mean, are you going to be a good mom if you have to go out and murder families? I don't know. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's a weird movie.
So good, though.
It was good. Very good.
What's interesting to me is that when you break it down, when you break the movie down, bare bones, serial killer movie about a serial killer who worships Satan.
Serial killer that never committed a single murder. He never committed a single murder. He did not. Did he lay a hand on anybody? No.
Well, he was there to kill Lee, though, wasn't he?
Was he?
He didn't have an accomplice at that point.
How do you know?
Where did this other accomplice go? Ruth just replaced them?
What I want to know is she didn't have a dad there. So who was going to commit the murders? It was always the dad that committed all the murders. It wasn't mom's. It was dad's. She didn't have a dad. Never once did you see a dad in the picture. Not at all.
Blah, blah, patriarchy.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, you're right. I don't know.
And he did say at one point, he said to her mom, if you'd have just played nice with me, none of this would have happened. It would have all been over. So, because she didn't play nice. She wasn't going to give up her kid.
And I wonder...
Where was the doll? Where did the doll come from? He was there. He knew it was her birthday.
Yeah, well, obviously he had stalked them. I think that's...
And maybe he didn't have an accomplice. Maybe you're right. Maybe he did not. And it was just easier for her once she said, no, you're not going to do this to my kid. And he was like, I have an in now. It'll be so much easier to get into these houses.
And he was right.
He was right.
Because again, when he faced that girl at the gas station, she was like, weird perverts here. Nobody's going to let that fucking guy into their house.
I would not take a doll from that man. If he showed up at my door and was like, your child want a doll, I'd be like, I'm sorry, no.
I'd be like, there's weird...
We're good.
Your sperm is all over that doll, sir.
I'd be
I'm calling the
door.
Police.
I'd be like, he's got cameras in that doll in my daughter's room. No, we're not doing this. Goodbye. No. I wouldn't even answer the door if he'd have knocked on it. 100%. If someone like that came to my door, I'd be like, no, I'm good. Hiding. Shh, don't say a word. Like you do when the Jehovah's Witnesses come over. That's what I do. Oh, maybe we should not. You might want to edit that out.
Listen to me, Becky. Are you listening to me?
Yes.
There is a 0-sum chance that Jehovah's Witnesses
are listening to this.
Are listening to our podcast.
Did I ever tell you the story of the day my dad died? The Jehovah's Witnesses came to our house, and we lived way back in the field. Our driveway was like a quarter of a mile long. And they always came to our house. It was just inevitable. My brother answered the door one day naked on purpose so they wouldn't come back. And they asked him, he was in a towel, I think. And they asked him what he felt was important. He's like, sleep, and slammed the door in their face.
Damn.
But it happened a lot. So the morning my dad died, I was sleeping on the couch, and all of a sudden I just hear him say, don't move. And he's right next to me. And my dad was in a wheelchair because he'd lost his left arm and leg in a train accident before I was born. And he's right next to me in his wheelchair. I'm on the couch. He's like, don't move. And I'm like, what? He goes, the Jehovah's are here. Don't say a word. And I can remember just laying there laughing. And they finally left and I got up. They couldn't have seen us. We had a whole wall between us because we had a living room and a family room and it was all a wall. But we were hiding from the Jehovah's. Don't make a sound.
They would have sensed you.
So I have that last good memory with my dad because I left about a half an hour after that and he was gone within like 6 hours. But yeah, no, yep. So sorry, Jehovah's Witnesses. Please don't knock on my door. I don't want to be saved by you.
I mean, she already doesn't talk to Satan, so just consider your work done.
I'm good.
So we got lots of stuff that we're going to talk about. We got it lined up.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Oddity.
Oddity I really liked.
And I think that would be a great opportunity to talk about that Oddity museum that we found when we were in Pontiac.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Yeah, we'll include that with it.
We can sandwich that together.
Yes. Super cool place.
Yeah. So, I think we're done talking about Longlegs for now.
Yep.
I love horror movies like this that are smart because you can revisit them later and think about different things. I know I've sent you a bunch of TikToks about people who do deep dives on different movies, and one that keeps popping up on my For You page on TikTok is the woman who does deep dives of Hereditary. And I almost want to talk about it again because there's so much more to talk about.
Hereditary is so bad.
Maybe we'll do a year anniversary from when we first released Hereditary. Maybe we'll talk about it again.
Okay.
We'll see. I don't want to watch it again.
I don't want to watch it again either.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow, matey. It's International Talk Like a Pirate Day. Arr!
I'm not taking part in this.
She's no fun.
Today the pod, tomorrow the world. Arr! I hate my life. Okay, bye.